Good evening, everyone. It now being 6 o'clock, I declare the meeting open. One declaration of announcement of visitors. We have one visitor in the gallery who I think wants to ask a question, acknowledge that visitor, and then move to acknowledgement of country. We wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are meeting on, the Wandandi people. We wish to acknowledge and respect their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. We pay our respects to all members of the Aboriginal communities and their culture and their elders past and present, their descendants who are with us today and those who will follow in their footsteps. Item 2, record of attendance. We have an apology from Councillor Mogg. I think we've all seen the image. We have no apologies, but I have an acknowledgement of a member in the gallery. Thank you. Response to previous public questions taken on notice. They are in the minutes, so we won't go to that. But we start with public question time, and we have questions from Ms Hearn.
Thank you. And I am Judy Hearn from Peppermint Grove Beach. The process to appoint our new CEO, Mrs Samantha Chamberlain, took 9 months or so, with our ongoing Shire operations watched over for a period of a year by 2 different acting CEOs. My question concerns the 3 key Shire appointments at the next corporate level: the appointment of the directors who supervise the diverse Shire operations. Since the promotion of Ms Chamberlain from Director Corporate and Community Services to the position of CEO, the 3 directors' positions for the now 3 rather than previous 2 directorates have been substantively vacant. It's an exciting time of possibilities for a Shire. Could be a challenge to have an entirely new leadership team, but an exciting time of possibilities to build the strength that can help the Shire catch up after the difficulties it has faced over previous years. So, what is the plan for advertising and the appointment of the 3 directors?
I'll defer that question to the CEO.
Thank you, Mrs Hearn, through the chair. And before I answer the question, I probably just want to thank you for that positive insight in terms of the opportunity, like you say, that it presents this organisation, because that's how we as an organisation truly feels, particularly going into a new structure and having maybe new staff come into the positions and what opportunities that presents and the experience they bring with them. So just on that, because they're 3 executive positions, and we want to ensure that when we go through the process, we have a good field that apply. Rather than do the process internally, we've gone through a recruitment process or a request for quotation process to appoint an external recruitment consultant to do the process for us for all 3 positions at the same time. So we reviewed the quotations and we have selected a consultancy firm as of yesterday. I don't believe they've been informed, so I don't really want to say who it is that we've appointed to do it. The work in the background whilst going through that in terms of developing the person description or job descriptions and all the support material we need for that to go to advert has been completed. So by next week, we should be seeing the adverts released publicly.
So the positions have not yet been advertised. They will be shortly advertised.
That's correct, yeah.
And where will they be advertised?
Through the chair. Usual places, so we'll advertise them on the Shire websites, socials, LinkedIn, Seek, and then the recruitment website and the other mediums that they use to basically go and support the process in that way.
And what is the timeline?
So we're looking, based on the quotation that we looked at and the scheduling for them to come on board and support us with it, hopefully within the next 10 to 12 weeks, we'd have concluded all 3 recruitment processes and then be in a position, I suppose, to report to council through obviously a confidential report what the outlook looks like. But then in terms of whoever comes on board, whoever wins those positions, it depends on if they're currently employed in local government, and if they're currently in a senior position, their contract obligations may mean that they have a 3-month resignation buffer that they need to see through. I'm not saying that is the case. That's going to be the case. We don't know until we identify who the 3 successful candidates are. Sometimes people can negotiate an earlier leave from their current position, and if that's possible, would be great for us. So, yeah, I mean, it's an unknown at this point, but the process should be finalised within 10 to 12 weeks.
And it could be 6 months before the team is finally formed.
Possibly, yes, yeah.
So I understand that the creation of the 3rd directorate was part of the staff force plan, which was worked through in 24, I think.
Yeah.
And it was announced that the 3rd director would be in place in the second quarter of 25-26. So now we are approaching that. Because that plan was drawn up then, what are the titles and areas of responsibilities that will be assigned to the 3 directorates?
Well, my first day in Office of CEO is on the 1st of May, and actually that is the first day we transitioned to the 3 directorate structure. So we do have 3 acting directors. Obviously, we have Director McCarthy here and Director Fry here that have stepped up, and Mick's obviously come to join us on a temporary basis as well to cover the...
Sorry, I missed that.
Mick McCarthy, who's our director.
Yes.
Is our Director of Infrastructure Management.
Right.
And Mick will be hopefully with us until we appoint the substantive post holder to that position. And then obviously you've got Isabel Fry, who is our manager of planning and development services, and we stepped up. And Isabel is covering the director position of community planning and development.
Sorry, can you go slowly through the names? I'm not catching it.
Oh, okay, so you've got Isabel Fry, who stepped up to Director of Community Planning and Development. So that split as community has come out of corporate and community and then amalgamated with development services effectively. And Isabel is currently heading that part of the organisation. And then Jeremy O'Neill, who is our manager of community development and libraries, has basically now stepped up and he's covering the director position for corporate and customer relations.
And in which of those directorates does the finance section sit?
In corporate.
In
customer
corporate.
relations.
So at the moment, Jeremy's looking after that one.
That's right. With my oversight still, and obviously the finance team.
Okay. Thank you for that information. It is disappointing to hear that after the delays in finding a CEO, that it could be a long time before you have the opportunity to build a team, which I think is crucial for this Shire. Do you think there would be value in keeping the electors informed as to what is going on?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I don't want to speak on behalf of the elected members here. If the council are comfortable with that, we can put some communications out around how that process is tracking. I have no issue with that.
That's good, because I imagine the councillors take that as their strongest responsibility at this time, to make sure that the leadership team is built. Excellent.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for answering my questions.
You're welcome. Actually, can I just mention something? What we do need to do moving forward, and you may have checked already, the Shire's website does need to be updated with
Certainly
this information.
does.
So I thought I'll just mention that just in case. But we are working on that, Mrs. Hearn. presently.
Yes.
So,
Well, I think that would be a good place to put the temporary information.
yes.
Because the ratepayers do actually connect with the directors
Yes.
and are keen to see some work done on the pile of plans that you're adding to tonight as well.
Absolutely.
I think the delays are the frustration in so much planning. I was going to say so little action, but I know you would object to that, so I'll take that comment back. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms Hearn. The next question is from Dr Don Finlay of Buena. He's not here this evening, so I'll read the questions. Question 1. The lease at the Walser requires shades over all cattle pens. The condition remains unmet. How many more years does the council consider acceptable before enforcing this specific, unambiguous lease condition? The response: I've discussed this with the CEO and we have agreed to take this on notice. Question 2. Will council commit today to issuing a formal notice of breach requiring installation of shade within a defined time frame? The lease requires full compliance with animal welfare legislation. Council's regular communication as lessor with the lessee is not enforcement. And again, I think we'll accept the CEO's advice and take the response on notice. Thank you. Application for leave of absence. Are there any applications for leave of absence? There be no application for leave of absence. We move on to the next item. Item 6, declarations of interest. Is there any declarations of interest regarding business on items on the business paper this evening? Being no declarations of interest, we move on to item 7. Notice of item to be discussed behind closed doors. There's no particular item to be discussed behind closed doors. However, there is a confidential attachment regarding an item in the business paper. Item 8, 8.1, confirmation of minutes. Can I have someone move for the confirmation of the minutes, please? Councillor Hasty. Is there a seconder? Councillor Sharp. Any against? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Announcement of persons presiding without discussion. Well, I have nothing to add other than to the Shire President's activity report, which is tabled in the minutes of the meeting, in the documents of the meeting. Thank you. Item 10, petitions, deputations and presentations. There being none, we move on to item 11, motion of which previous notice has been given. Motion of notice from Councillor Noonan. Councillor Noonan, do we need a seconder at this point? Do I have a seconder for Councillor Noonan's motion? Councillor Sharp. Councillor Noonan? Would you care to speak to the motion? I'll read it. The Council welcomes the announcement of the WA Government's Natural Resources Management Funding grant for the design and planning of the Fanwa Wildlife Hospital in the Shire of Capel, and the Council commits the Shire we're able to assist in that process. Councillor Noonan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, this is a very important announcement that was made, a funding announcement that was made by the state government and by Fauna. So the project's supported by a $368,300 grant from the WA state government towards a wildlife hospital. Fauna has been working for the last 40 or so years caring for animals here in the Shire of Capel and receiving animals not just from our shire but from surrounding shires and rehabilitating them, getting them back to a condition where they're releasable if they are, or finding homes for them if they're not in a condition that they will ever return to the wild. a tremendous group of volunteers led by a very, very passionate executive group. And Councillor Sharp has produced a very, very good summary page of some of the work that they do, which I'd encourage people to go and have a look at. So I think this is a tremendous asset for the Shire, and that where possible, it would be good for us to assist in any way that we can to bring this to fruition. Thank you.
Councillor Noonan, would you, for the audience, and partly including me, just tell us what FANWA stands for?
Yes, fauna is the... it's the... Terry, you'll have to help me out here. The first F is fauna and wildlife. What is it?
I'm embarrassed to say that I can't remember what it stands for, as I've always called it fauna.
Yeah.
Councillor Sharp.
Thank you, Mr. President, and apologies to Suzanne Strapp, who is the president of Fauna and an amazing person and an advocate for wildlife everywhere. Thanks to Councillor Noonan, I did write an article which I did share with everybody. And I really concur with what Councillor Noonan has said. I think we do need to be supporting this initiative and looking ahead towards having a regional wildlife centre. It's long overdue. Over 41 years of work has been put in by an amazing group of volunteers, nurturing and looking after some terrible things that have happened to our wildlife through various misadventures. It can't come at a better time, and I feel that the Shire's advocacy in this area is very important for the direction in which they're heading, and I really hope this does come to fruition because, yeah, our animals and our nature need it. Thank you.
Speakers against?
Sorry, may I add something, and it's not against?
Yes, Councillor Sharp.
Fostering.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, thank you.
No, but you can read it out.
I need my glasses on. Fostering and assistance for wildlife needing aid.
Thank you, Councillor Sharp. Any speakers against? Further speakers for?
Can I
Councillor
just ask
Hastie?
a question
Of
through
course.
the chair? Is there any guarantee that the Shire will actually get this, or is there other shires that are going to apply for this as well?
I don't know if I can answer that, but my understanding is, but I'll defer to others, is that the site is that's been nominated for the development of the design concept is in the Shire of Capel, and it's on remediated Iluka land along Chewett Drive. Am I correct in that? I'm getting acknowledgement from the staff. So it's located physically within the Shire of Capel, and my understanding is this grant initially, I hope it provides some built form in the end, but it's at least initially to develop the concept plans and the design for the facility. But I'll defer to Councillor Sharp and Councillor Noonan for further advice on that, and Ms Fry.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Any further speakers for Councillor McCleary?
I know I've been away for a little while, Mr. President, but not that long to forget my name. But yeah, look, it's kind of like in the context of a question, and I think you indicated in your earlier comments, this is very early in the stages of a project, and it looks like it's a concept plan, so it's got a long way to go. And I'm pretty sure they'll be contacting Shire about the various approval processes that'll be required to get it over the line going forward. So my question is, I'm kind of thinking it's a bit premature, this motion, and that it would be nicer to defer it if we could have had a scope or something. Is there probably there? Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks.
Any speakers for? Further speakers for? Councillor Shiano.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I think the majority, the point has been made as well. Obviously, this is great news in the progress of the Cardinjup and I probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but the Biodiversity Park, which councillors might be aware, obviously is earmarked for that land across Buswell Highway, which is probably quite wet today actually, because it's usually half the year it spends as a lake, so it's probably looking pretty good at the moment. It's biodiversity is probably quite a lot of tadpoles in the next couple of months. But I think just leading on from the comments from Councillor McCleary, they're at a point in their process at the moment where they're starting to obtain government support and initial funding to undertake the preliminary work to develop the business case, the plan, preliminary designs, and some sort of temporary arrangement. It might not seem like much of an action at the moment, but it's actually really important to have that. One of the first questions they get asked by government is, well, what are the local authorities and what are the local stakeholders? What is their position? Do they support you? We're obviously very supportive of that biodiversity park. It's been somewhere in our plans for several years as well. And so I think just even at this point, I think this is a good time to say, yes, this is great news. The Shire supports, in principle, the development. And obviously, we have a responsibility and role, I think, in assisting them through that journey as well. The motion doesn't require any commitment around funding or future planning or anything like that. That obviously all comes down to Fauna to now do what they're required to do under that grant. So, look, I think there will be a time when and hopefully there will be a time, because hopefully they'll be successful in their endeavours, that we might have to consider what our part to play in that development is. And there's been an indication from this council, I think, over several years that there would be involvement, particularly from a capital perspective. And yeah, I think just preliminary support is really important for them as they go through this journey. And so I'm very happy to support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Shiano. Any other speakers for? I might take the opportunity. I just think I agree entirely with what Councillor Shiano said. It may well be that at some point in the future that we might be invited to participate in a more fiscal way, but I think to provide this in principle support for them in their endeavours to gain funding and the like is very important. And I commend it, but I also invite Councillor Noonan right a reply.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank all of the councillors for all of their contributions and thoughts, and yes, I'd like to commend the motion. Thank you.
I'll put the motion. Those in favour? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Questions with which previous notice have been given? Well, we've already dealt with those. The Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee independent members, item 13.1. Item 13.1 has been withdrawn from tonight's agenda due to the withdrawal of one of the preferred candidates for the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee independent members. I might just take the liberty of inviting the CEO to comment on where the process goes from here, because I understand that it's being effectively managed.
Thank you, Shire President. Obviously, when we went out to recruit for these independent positions on the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee, we did have more than 2 applications. So effectively, we went back and re-reviewed the applications and have selected another person to be considered, and that report will be coming back to Council, actually be coming to the Special Council meeting, if we hold a Special Council meeting, on the 10th of June. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. Item 14.1, Shire of Capel Trails Master Plan 26 to 36. That Council endorsed the Shire of Capel Trails Master Plan 2636 as a guide for the planning, staging, funding and delivery of current and future trail infrastructure throughout the district. 2, endorse the plan recommendations and costings subject to full business case review in the Shire's future draft corporate business plan and long-term financial planning documents. Councillor Sharp. Can I have a mover for the motion? Moved Councillor Noonan, seconded Councillor Sharp. I'm sorry, I didn't look to my left, my apologies. Councillor Noonan.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to commend this motion to the council and thank the Shire staff who have been who've worked very hard to put this together over a number of years. We've been ably assisted by Treadwell, the consultant who helped to do an audit of our existing trails. It provides us with the framework, the structure that we need to look at the trails that we have, look at the maintenance repair requirements that they have, look at the opportunities for developing new trails, making that process orderly, and being able to work that into our budgeting documents in a sensible and sustainable way. In particular, I would like to acknowledge the work of T.M. Barber, Jeremy O'Neill, Leslie Jacks, Vanessa Jackson, they're from the Shire, Lynn Mazza and John Pym, they're our community representatives, Kirsten Stender from DBCA, and of course Treadwell. This is a really, really good document. It's 150 pages, which lays out where we are, what opportunities we've got, and how we get there, how we get to that, 2036 position of hopefully being one of the preeminent trail towns or trail shires in the state. And certainly key parts of that will be the Bunbury to Busselton, Bunbury, Capel, Busselton cycle walk trail, and the east-west connections between Peppy Grove Beach and Capel, and then up to Boyanup. So there's a lot to like in here, and it provides us, I think, with a very good framework to move forward. So I commend this Trails Master Plan.
Thank you, Councillor Noonan. Councillor Sharp. Any speakers against? Any further speakers for? I'm not going to pass up the opportunity. But seriously, this is, I think, an example of how we rationally approach these sorts of projects that may be seen as not as important as sealing a road. But they are important to the social and cultural infrastructure of an area. They are also important to visitation, and they're also important to maintaining the importance and significance of those two original townships of Capel and Boyanup. I think that's hugely important. And I say that as a relatively newcomer to the area. And I just think this is the right structural approach to lay out a plan, a master plan. It can always be varied and altered as circumstances dictate, but at least it puts us in position to seek funding, which is what we're going to require along the way. So I commend it and I support Councillor Noonan's motion. Right reply, Councillor Noonan.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 14.2, Shire of Capel Public Health Plan, final endorsement. The Council adopts the Shire of Capel Public Health Plan 26 to 30. Can I have a mover for that, please? Councillor McCleary, seconder. Seconder. I'm sorry, Councillor Montgomery. Councillor McCleary. Councillor Montgomery. Any speakers against? Any further speakers for? Right of reply, Councillor McCleary.
Thank you, Mr. President. Look, this is a good plan going forward and gives a bit of direction to the community of what we're going to do about the public health within our Shire. So it's a good plan.
Thank you, Councillor McCleary. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 15.1, request for tender 2602 Dalyella Public Open Space Maintenance. The Council awards the contract submission in request for tender 2602 Dalyella Public Open Space Maintenance to the recommended tenderer and the tendered amount detailed within the confidential attachment 15.1.2. Directs the successful respondent's name to be included in the advertised minutes. Thank you. Can I have a mover for that, please? Councillor Hastie, seconder. Councillor Noonan. Councillor Hastie.
I move it as read, thank you.
Councillor Noonan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, this is again another important motion. The maintenance of that public open space in Dalyella has been through several different processes. We took it in-house. We had it. We receive it initially from the developers. Sometimes it had been out to contractors, and we brought some in-house, and now we're looking at this tender going out to contractors again. The fact of the matter is that there's too much work there to be done purely by our own works department. The quality or the level of presentation of the public open space in Dalyella is outstanding, I think. There have been problems in the past, as we know, with some problems with irrigation. However, they've largely been resolved, and it's always a pleasure driving through Dalyella and seeing just how well maintained the parks and gardens are. And so I commend all of the workers, both the Shire workers and the tenderers or contractors who have worked on it to get it to this standard. And so I look forward to this contract enabling the tenderer to continue that process. Thank you.
Any speakers against? No speakers against. Any further speakers supporting the motion? That being the case, I invite Councillor Hastie to have a right of reply.
No, I can only concur with what Councillor Kieran Noonan just said. That's exactly the road that we need to take. Thank you.
I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item 16.1, delegations review. The Council endorses the changes and reaffirms the delegations as presented in attachment 16.1.1 in accordance with section 5.46 of brackets 2 of the Local Government Act 1995. Can I have a mover for that motion, please? Move Councillor McCleary. Second, Councillor Shiano. Councillor McCleary.
I'll move the motion as read.
Councillor Shiano.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Speakers against? Any further speakers for? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? My apologies, Councillor McCleary, and I should have invited the right of reply. Councillor, it's not deliberate, I assure you. My apologies. We go back. Councillor McCleary, right of reply. No right of reply. Then I'll invite councillors to vote again on that matter. Are those in favour? Declare that carried unanimously. I don't think I declared it, did I? Thank you, Councillor McCleary. Accounts, item 16.2, accounts paid during the month of April. That in accordance with Regulation 1311, Local Government Financial Management Regulation, with respect to our delegation, that council record in the minutes the summary of which follows: schedule of accounts equated to $4,606,050.24 for the month of April. Payroll payments for the month of April 26 equated to $695,853.95. 3, transfer to and from investments as listed. Can I have a mover for that motion, please? Councillor Noonan, you're a busy boy tonight. A seconder, please. Councillor Hasty, I'm sorry, did I miss? Sorry, Councillor Boyers. No, I'm sorry, Councillor Hasty, I missed Councillor Boyers. Is that okay with you? Yes. Councillor Boyers, thank you. Seconding it. Councillor McCleary. Oh no, Councillor Noonan, sorry. Jesus.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, it's always interesting going through and having a look at the accounts that have been paid. For a big organisation like this, it's always going to have big figures attached to it, and I assure our residents that we do look through these accounts closely, and we ask questions of the staff. One that a casual reviewer of the accounts may notice and may query, and the council has queried, were the payments to our tree services contractor, to Arborguy, because of they're considerable in this monthly set of accounts, and we asked those questions of the Shire. We were given a very comprehensive detailing of the work that was done, primarily specifically in Boyanup for the clearing of, I think it was 145 trees, which were close to power lines. So that work was required by Synergy and by Western Power. So we thank the Shire officers for providing that additional information, and we thank Arborguy, our tree lopping contractor, for the good work that they do. And I'd like to commend the motion.
Councillor Voyers.
Yes, excuse me, thank you. As tabled and supportive of Councillor Noonan's comments.
Any speakers against? Any further speakers for? Councillor Noonan.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Declare that carried unanimously. Item 16.3, financial reports of 30th of April 26. In accordance with Local Government Financial Management Regulations 1996, Section 34 in brackets 4 in brackets A, the Council receives a financial report for the month of April, 30th of April 26. Can I have a mover? Councillor McCleary. Thank you. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor Noonan. Councillor McCleary. Welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. President. Someone's got to move it. So, all right. Thanks very much for the report. there's some really good charts in there that we should all have a close look at when we go through the reports. Even if you can't read the document, there's some lovely pictures. My take on April, end of April, the overall operating costs are $6 million under budget at the end of April. So that was a bit concerning, and I've had some answers given to me today. Employee costs are running at 7.7% lower than what was expected, and that's taken up with changes in staff and moving around. So that's something that was a bit concerning, but I've had some reasonable answers given to me earlier today. And then the big ticket item, which I was looking at, was in the capital spend. It's looking like there's $12 million to spend over the next 2 months, so May, June. So I'm understanding that a lot of that will be the hub coming in, but it's still on the charts that I was looking at, the projections of actual versus plan. It's still going to be slightly under at the end of the year. So, but I have been told that might not be the case. So that's the only comments I've got on this. And yeah.
Councillor Noonan?
No, nothing, Dad. Thanks, Mr. President.
Any speakers against? Any further speakers for? I'll then put the motion. Those, oh, sorry, right, I'll reply. Geez, I'll get the sack at this rate. Though you want Doug back.
Thank you,
Probably
Mr.
do
President.
anyway.
That's twice tonight.
Councillor
I'm
McCleary.
keeping count. Yeah, look, I've said what I needed to say, so
Thank
let's
you,
put the
Councillor
motion.
McCleary.
Thank
You're
you.
very gracious. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Declare that carried unanimously. Item 17, new business of an urgent nature. There's no business of an urgent nature. We go on to item 18, motions without notice. No motions without notice. We go on to the next one. Item 19, public question time. There's no members of the gallery present. No public in the gallery present, so there's no public questions. 20, notice of motion for consideration at the next ordinary meeting of council. There being no items. Item 21, items for consideration behind closed doors. There's nil. Item 22, I declare the meeting closed at 6:42.